Hello, everyone. Mm, I'm having some tea as I peruse the various headlines today. I saw this one in Daily Mail. Jennifer Lopez goes braless on the chic blazer after it was revealed how she plans to get over Ben Affleck. And so I was reading the whole article, but I was thinking more about her connection to Diddy, because her name has resurfaced a lot in connection with her tumultuous past with Diddy amid his mounting legal troubles, as we all know. I mean, he's facing, trafficking, racketeering, all kinds of amazing things. Now, the relationship between Lopez and Combs in the late 90s included a highly publicized incident in a Manhattan nightclub that resulted in a woman getting shot in the face, I believe. At least she was injured. I mean, I think it was in the face. And reports from that time allege that Lopez had a gun in her purse, though rapper Shyne ultimately took the fall for the whole thing. And he's now basically going on all the news channels and saying that he was set up and so on and so forth. And he served a 10-year prison sentence before being deported to Belize, where I believe he's now running for president, if you can even believe all of this. I mean, how is all of this not? I mean, it's like it's all charted, this is this whole thing. Life is a simulation. Everything is crazy, but it all sort of comes together in this big puzzle. I mean, this man is now running for president of Belize, you guys. Okay, now with Diddy's trial set for May 2025. Well, it could be pushed back now if we have a superseding indictment, but for now it's set for May 2025. Speculation abounds about whether Lopez could face renewed legal scrutiny as a consequence of her involvement with him years ago and carrying the gun in her back, allegedly. Now, while there has been no indication that authorities plan to investigate her involvement, or I don't know, have they investigated her involvement? I've heard different things, that she was investigated, she was not investigated. I don't know. Look, what I do know is that the case's complexity and ongoing public interest has definitely drawn Jennifer into the spotlight in a very negative way, even though you couldn't tell by looking at her. I mean, look at her. She looks absolutely like $1 trillion. And I think that's what her and her handlers are going after since her divorce from Ben Affleck is, I will not be, you know, reduced to my least common denominator because of this. I'm going to triumph over this. I'm going to look like $1 million. And she does look like $1 million. But, you know, it does, sort of coincide with this thing with Diddy and, her past involvement with him. And, this case is so complex, it seems to be exploding by the day. Superseding indictments are coming down, co-conspirators. We don't really know how this is all going to end up for him and, for that matter, Jennifer Lopez. So now back to the incident in the 1990s, I mean, which is the tie that Jennifer has to this whole thing. It involved allegations of Combs firing a weapon during a nightclub altercation, and Lopez was purportedly present on the scene, and she purportedly had this weapon in the weapon, the gun, in her purse, right? Questions linger, though, about whether she could be implicated in the event, either as a witness or an accessory, right? Because she was never really charged. She was arrested with him, but not charged. Legal experts suggest, some legal experts anyway, that the statute of limitations will likely protect her from charges stemming from the 1999 incident unless new evidence emerges or perjury charges arise if previous statements are contradicted. Now that Puffy's in the soup that he's in, and the proverbial what has hit the fan. This revival of Lopez's connection to Combs stand in sharp contrast to the recent media portrayals of her personal life, and certainly what we're looking at right now, right? The Daily Mail, which is where this article that I'm looking at right now was published, has published an article focusing on Lopez's chic braless blazer ensemble and her efforts to move forward after her divorce from Ben Affleck. The headline about her fashion choices and plans to get over Ben is in stark juxtaposition with, the shadows of her past, if you will, with Sean Diddy Combs, right? While the Daily Mail prioritizes tales of Jennifer's high fashion Instagram posts and tumultuous love life, especially with Ben Affleck, the resurfacing of Diddy's legal issues could serve as an unsettling reminder of a darker chapter in her life. For now, Lopez does appear focused on reclaiming her narrative, and we certainly support her efforts to reclaim her narrative because, look, say what you want about Jennifer Lopez. She has come up from nothing pretty much, in quotes. I mean, she was a working class girl living in the Bronx, New York, and it was not easy, I'm sure, for her parents and her. They were okay. They weren't the poorest people in the world, but I mean, she was, an ordinary working class girl, and she wanted success and she wanted it badly. She could taste it. She could, cut her tongue. That's how much she wanted it. And so she got some opportunities and she exploited those opportunities. And one of those opportunities was meeting Sean Combs, who at the time was, you know, somewhat of an established person in the music industry. And she saw that he could help her. Should she be faulted for, using him for his help, or if not using him, but certainly she was married at the time she met him, and her husband was not really able to help her. Let's be honest. I mean, she was more in a position of helping her then husband than he was to help her, and she wanted success. She wanted success at any price. Maybe not any price, but she was willing to pay a high price for it, right? And so, this relationship with Diddy Combs, I think was a part of that journey to success. It was not an easy journey. It's not for the faint of heart. Most of us would run and recoil at the thought of getting involved with somebody like Sean Diddy Combs, even back then. But she, marched forward because she saw what she could get out of it, right? And she stayed in a relationship with him, I think, for at least 2 years, right? They were together until this incident in the nightclub where she found herself, almost arrested and charged with, I guess, attempted murder or whatever it was he was charged with. And then she got out of it and she got married to Chris Judd and she divorced him and went with Ben Affleck the first time, and then she dropped him and she married Mark Anthony. She dropped him, and there was Casta something, whatever his name was, and then she dropped him, and it was Drake, and then it was Alex Rodriguez, and then back to Ben, and now she's single again, and now. After that long journey, they want to tie her back to the past. I mean, Puffy was many, 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 many boyfriends and husbands and men ago, right? He was a long time ago. And it's unfortunate that she's now having to come back to face this and deal with this. But, I think she does it with great aplomb and confidence. I mean, look at Jennifer Lopez.